Imagine opening a book and realizing the author does not want to entertain you. They want to trap you. They want to leave an image in your mind that you can never remove. These are 5 of the darkest books ever written. And the final one was so disturbing that even its history feels cursed. Number 5. The Road by Cormac McCarthy. The world has already ended. The sky is gray, the forests are burning, and an unnamed father walks through the ruins with his young son. They have almost no food, no safe destination, and only one bullet left in their gun. The father tells the boy they are the good guys, that they are carrying the fire, but every mile makes that promise harder to keep. Most apocalyptic stories ask how humanity can survive. The Road asks something worse. If survival requires you to become a monster, should you survive at all? The creatures hiding in this world are not mutants. They are people. Hungry people. People who have stopped seeing others as human. But the darkest moment is not what the father discovers inside an abandoned house. It is what he quietly prepares to do if they are captured. That single bullet is not meant for him. It is meant for his son. The father believes death would be kinder than what the survivors might do to him. And suddenly, the gun becomes more frightening than anything following them. But The Road still contains something the other books on this list do not. Hope. Small, fragile, almost invisible hope. The next book removes even that. Number 4. Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. A virus has supposedly made animal meat poisonous. So governments create a solution. Humans become livestock. They are bred, processed, packaged, and sold like ordinary meat. The language changes first. Nobody says murder. Nobody says victim. Nobody even says human. They call it special meat. That is what makes the book so disturbing. The horror is not hidden. It is regulated. There are factories, quality standards, advertising campaigns. People do not scream in the streets. They adapt. The main character, Marcos, works inside this industry. He appears disgusted by it. He remembers the world before. He seems like the last person who still understands that something is wrong. Then he is given a woman raised as livestock. And for a moment, the story offers an escape. Maybe he will save her. Maybe this nightmare has not completely destroyed him. But the ending reveals something far worse. Marcos never escaped the system. He simply found a way to use it. The final line transforms everything that came before it. Because the book's real warning is not that humans can become cruel, it is that cruelty becomes invisible when society gives it a professional name. The third book does something different. It places you inside the mind of the monster. Number 3. American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Patrick Bateman is young, wealthy, handsome, and completely empty. He works on Wall Street. He wears expensive suits. He obsesses over restaurants, business cards, and designer brands. Then, without warning, he describes acts of horrifying violence with the same excitement he uses to describe a new stereo. That is the point. To Patrick, a human life and a luxury product have almost the same value. He lives in a world where appearance is everything. The men around him dress alike, talk alike, and constantly mistake one another for someone else. Patrick openly confesses what he has done. Nobody listens. They assume he is joking, or they are too distracted by status to care. But there is a question hiding beneath the violence. Did Patrick actually commit these crimes? Some scenes feel real, others feel impossible. Evidence disappears, victims appear alive again. Reality begins to collapse, and the book never gives a clean answer. That uncertainty is the trap. If the crimes are real, Patrick lives in a world too shallow to notice a monster. If they are imaginary, he is trapped inside a mind creating horrors just to feel something. Either possibility is terrifying, but Patrick Bateman still pretends to be civilized. The next man does not pretend. Number 2. Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. A teenage runaway known only as the Kid enters the American frontier. He expects adventure, Instead, he finds Judge Holden. The judge is enormous, hairless, highly intelligent. He speaks multiple languages, studies nature, plays music, and seems to understand almost everything. He is also one of the most terrifying characters ever created. Judge Holden believes war is the natural state of humanity. To him, morality is an invention made by the weak. Anything that exists without his knowledge offends him, so he studies the world, draws it in his book, then sometimes destroys the original, as if knowledge gives him ownership over reality itself. The judge does not simply commit evil, he explains it. He makes violence sound logical, almost sacred, and that is what makes him dangerous. A mindless monster can be dismissed. Judge Holden cannot. He understands goodness. He simply rejects it. Years later, the kid encounters him again. What happens next is never fully described. A door opens, someone looks inside, and the reaction tells us enough. The judge survives. He dances. He claims he will never die. Maybe he is a man. Maybe he is the devil. Or maybe he represents something worse, the part of humanity that will always find a reason to enjoy destruction. But one book goes further than Blood Meridian. It does not ask whether evil can win. It builds a world where evil has already won. Number 1. The 120 Days of Sodom by the Marquis de Sade. The book was written in 1785 while de Sade was imprisoned in the Bastille. He wrote it in tiny handwriting on a long roll of paper, then hid it inside the wall of his cell. When he was suddenly transferred, he believed the manuscript had been lost. He reportedly wept over it, but the scroll survived, and what it contained became infamous. The story follows 4 wealthy men who isolate themselves inside a remote castle. They possess money, political power, and complete control over everyone trapped with them. There are no consequences inside the castle, no laws, no rescue. Every day becomes worse than the last. The manuscript itself was never completed. The early sections are written as scenes, the rest dissolves into increasingly horrific notes. It feels less like a novel and more like the blueprint of a nightmare. But the violence is not the book's darkest idea. The darkest idea is that these men are not outsiders. They represent society's most powerful institutions: wealth, religion, law, and nobility. The people expected to defend civilization are the ones secretly destroying it. That is why many readers regret opening it. There is no hero to follow, no justice waiting at the end, no deeper comfort hidden beneath the cruelty. Only the suggestion that when people gain absolute power, morality can disappear frighteningly fast. These books are disturbing for different reasons. The Road shows love struggling to survive the end of the world. Tender is the Flesh shows cruelty becoming normal. American Psycho hides a monster behind wealth and beauty. Blood Meridian gives evil a philosophy. And the 120 Days of Sodom removes every limit. But they all leave behind the same warning. The darkest monsters are not hiding outside civilization. They are created when civilization stops treating people as human.